Hello, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning, whoever is in Latin America. Good afternoon, whoever is here in the USA. Apologize for being 6 minutes late. We have a couple of technical issues, but we are live now. Just to know if everyone can hear me pretty well, can you just type or raise your hand in the chat room for all of you, please? Yep. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Mina. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Carlos. Okay, sounds good. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. In these 3 days of webinar series, this is going to be the first one. Ignite the fire within you. This is an amazing opportunity for us today to navigate conversations related to human being, self-care, and how to navigate those different situations that we're experiencing now in light of COVID-19 and some stressful situations that we need to deal with, whether it's working from home or going back to the office or basically being, locked down and, dealing with that social distancing. So today's agenda, again, as usual, we're going to have an introduction of Alpha, who we are, what we do, and where we are located. Then I'm going to do a quick presentation about Kuma. After that, I'm going to present my guest speaker, Dr. Laura Perez, Duque from Colombia, and then we're going to wrap it up with some Q&A questions. For those who are new to Alpha, Alpha stands for the Association of Latino Professionals for America. We have more than 48 years of history, and it was all back in the 1972 when this young professional Latino, Gil Vasquez, decided to get together with a couple of finance Latino professionals to make a network group, build that connection to make more visible those Latino minority in California, more specifically in LA. So we're gonna be forever thankful with Gil Vasquez for opening up the door for all the Latino community in corporate America. We're proud to say that by 2005, we have awarded more than $1.4 million in a scholarship to outstanding Latino students who hold a GPA more than 3.75%. This wouldn't be possible without the help of all the members who are linked to Alpha, also our partners and sponsors. We also recognize the value of our Latinas. As 2017, we partnered with Fortune Magazine and Columbia University to recognize and elevate the voice of powerful Latinas in America and recognize the 50 most powerful Latina as an opportunity to recognize the effort, their commitment, and opening the door to the next generation of Latinas. By 2020, we envision Boston and an Alpha chapter that is inclusive. We have more than 42 professional chapters and 22,000 members across the United States. Boston is the second largest chapter after New York with 8,000 members. And we're always here to support you guys, to offer you the tools and the resources that you need to succeed in environments like this, not only in your professional career, but at the personal level. That's why today we have this amazing webinar for you to connect yourself in a personal level that you can use those tools to overcome the current situation we're living in. A little bit about Kuma. Kuma is defined as an ecosystem wellness that is providing knowledge and tools throughout 3 pillars. Those 3 pillars are holistic health, wisdom, and empowerment. These are set to help you to understand yourself and live a life full of health and joyful life. Today, my guest speaker is going to talk about holistic health. Dr. Laura Perez is a born and raised Colombia doctor, a bachelor's degree from Antioch University, and basically her field of study, it's focused on human health and understanding not only the body, the soul, the traditional medicine that we know about the human body, but also that connection that we can improve through our inner self. So that's why she's focused on Ayurveda, which is a traditional Chinese medicine. She holds studies from the University of Gujarat in India, based in this traditional Chinese medicine. She's gonna share with us her thoughts and her experience on this traditional Chinese medicine, and also how we can better connect our inner self with this current situation and improve our health. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Laura Perez.
Thank you, Berto. Thank you so much for the nice introduction. And thank you, Alpha, for having us, the whole team of Kuma, joining you in this enterprise of providing with very useful tools in order to bring yourself closer to yourself, especially in these times of uncertainty and crisis. Thank you all the attendees for joining us today. I see 3 people raising their hands, so I'm not sure if you guys would like to ask a question or it was maybe a mistake. Okay, now 1 person. Chelsea, I don't know, maybe.
Let's see, Chelsea.
Or maybe we'll leave that question for the end. Okay.
Yes, that was just for an audio test.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so the invitation for today was to have initially to start this session a nice cup of herbal tea. We suggested some herbs that are sweet in nature and that are stimulating as well, that are a good way to start your day because of their antioxidant capacities, because they have certain properties that enhance your digestive system and that are very smooth for an initial moment in your day. This is also indirectly an invitation to start questioning the need for stimulants so early in the day. Stimulants such as coffee, stimulants such as tea, black tea, and other stimulants that people may use, energetic drinks, energy drinks, and all other stimulants. And to start going back to more natural substances that are more related to us as human beings since the beginning of our existence, because we have always established a very direct and powerful relationship with the resources around us. And herbs are one of those tools that are very powerful and that we are very accustomed to. We are not so accustomed to coffee, for example, because it's relatively new. Maybe we are more accustomed to tea, but especially green tea, not so much black tea. And to remember also that coffee and tea and this and mate, for example, in countries like Argentina, Chile, Paraguay, Uruguay, where they consume it in a very regular way, those are substances that are social, that are like an invitation for a gathering, like an invitation to chat, to have a very social moment in your day. They are not meant to be like a clutch in your day in order for you to be able to manage, in order for you to be able to have enough energy. Those are substances that are used in rituals, in social rituals. So we want to address this webinar from the perspective of igniting your fire. That means to bring you closer to yourself, because we are seeing, especially nowadays with this pandemic, the need for us to be more independent, more autonomous, and less reliant on external factors, less reliant on the circumstances. No, we have to just be able to perform and to be okay whatever is going around us, because from our strength, from our inner strength, is that we can show to the external world what are we made of. So when we know ourselves very well, when we are in close contact with our needs, our desires, our capacities, our weaknesses as well, we are going to be able to provide a better response with every single situation. So igniting your fire starts and never ends, because it's a cycle. You can say that maybe you can disconnect when you're sleeping, but not so much. Actually, in the way you sleep, in the pattern that you establish between sleep and awakeness, you can start determining everything in your life. Your daylight activities will depend on how much and how well you slept, and vice versa. The way you sleep is going to be dependent on the way you run your day. So this is an invitation to be also very aware of yourself, aware of what's happening at every single moment. What are you feeling? What are you needing? What is going on in your mind? What are you feeling? What is going on in your body? Is there a pain? Is there a feeling of wellness, an overall wellness, or is there something in your body that is bothering you and needs to be addressed? So those are the tools that we want to evoke in you in order for you to be powerful people, and in order for you to be fulfilled in every aspect of your life. So Ayurveda, for example, Ayurveda has a very wide doctrine or discipline around how our days should be. And they address every single part of it. How you have to wake up, how you have to eat, how you have to take a bath, how you have to work out, what time of the day is better for you to eat, what time of the day is better for you to start going into like a less activity in order for you to be able to sleep, and how seasons are going to color all these patterns along the day, you know, because it's different, the energy in summer than it is in winter, for example. So Ayurveda takes that into account, and as an ancient wisdom, it just provide with the tools that are necessary for us human beings to live in a very harmonious way with ourselves in the first place, and consequently with the rest of the world. So I want you guys to take a moment and close your eyes, and you can hold your cup of the herbal tea you want. Today I have ginger, because it's been very rainy in Colombia, so I need my digestive power to be very powerful these days. And ginger is a good tool for that. So we're just gonna do a very little exercise of closing our eyes, because with our eyes closed is that we started our day. That's when we became aware again of our existence, of our body, of our thoughts, and our emotions. So I want you to go back to the moment you woke up today, and try to remember if you were aware of what was going on in your mind, your body, and your heart, or your emotions. Taking deep breath and being very aware of your body at this moment, but trying to go back to the moment you wake up. And if you cannot remember, then that's a very good sign that you have to be more aware of that moment. Because in that moment, you can light the spark or the light of your day. And if you are aware, well, congratulations. You are already on your way. We keep breathing in and out very slowly in a very rhythmic way and very naturally. Breathing happens without us even noticing. When we are aware of our breathing, we are more in touch with every single aspect of ourselves. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. And we're going to have a sip of our herbal tea with our eyes closed still. And we're going to try to be aware of how this liquid goes down into our stomach. And what do we feel as we assimilate this tea? It's a very brief moment when we swallow this drink. It happens in a second. But if we manage to be aware of that second, we are more able to be aware of other aspects of our lives that are more lasting, more intense, and more or less painful or cheerful. We take 3 deep breaths again. We are relaxed. Our attention is in place. And we can open our eyes. So, as we were talking about how we start our day with our eyes closed, we are going to take us back to the first moment of the day through Ayurveda. So according to Ayurveda, we need to wake up around 45 minutes before sunrise. It's gonna vary according to the season, right? Because for you guys in the United States, that's gonna have significant variations. 1 hour later or 1 hour earlier perhaps, but it's very important to be already awake when the sun rises. This time of the day is called Brahma Muhurta, and it's a very auspicious, that's the word Ayurveda uses, it's a very auspicious time for us to be aware, of our body and for us to be aware of the environment. Why do we have to be very aware of ourselves and our environment? Because that will determine the way we move, the way we eat, the way we do our chores, and the way we set the tone for the day. If we wake up and we ignore or dismiss, for example, that we have a headache and we jump right into breakfast, or we jump right into having coffee, then our head is going to be worse. Our headache is going to become more intense, maybe. But if, in the other hand, if we are aware from the very moment we regain consciousness that there's something going on in our body, we're going to be more able to implement certain actions in order to prevent that pain from happening again and to mitigate it for the day. These traditions, Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine, are traditions that are very intertwined with the spirituality. So this time of day, 1 hour, 45 minutes before sunrise, is also a very kind of a spiritual moment. The energy in the environment is different, is more oriented to have a deeper connection to the universe, a deeper connection to your beliefs, if you are following a religion, or if you have a belief in a certain God or in a certain discipline. This is where you are going to be able to connect better with that energy, with that source that you tend to connect. So Ayurveda recommends that we remain in bed for a little while, because it's becoming a habit to jump off bed, after the alarm goes off. We are all moody, we are kind of like grumpy because our sleep was interrupted by a sound, and we didn't really have the time to just fully wake up with more serenity. So the invitation then is to just remain in bed for a couple minutes and do like a scan of your body from head to toes, or from toes to head, whenever you feel more comfortable, and to understand what's going on. What's going on in your mood, what's going on in your body, what's going on in your mind. And from there, you go to the bathroom, because we need, according to Ayurveda, we need to start our day with some cleaning activities, with some cleaning rituals, especially around our 5 senses, because our 5 senses are the way we connect through the external world. If we didn't have our 5 senses, we wouldn't have any idea of what's going on. We use them every day. We use them at every moment. So we need to have them in a very good shape. And that is an activity that is mandatory every day. We need to be aware of how our 5 senses are every single day. And we need to clean them, so to speak, or to maintain, like to do maintenance to them every single day. And that implies a whole routine in our bathrooms. So we're going to be, the first thing we usually have to do is to evacuate our bowel and our bladder, because during the night, our body is doing a bunch of processes in order to regenerate and like fix whatever needs to be fixed. And the product of that is waste. So we need to take out the waste that we have. That's why it's very important to have at least 1 bowel movement very first thing in the morning. That is going to vary according to each person's nature, no? Because maybe people tend to go to the toilet once a day, maybe some other people will go to the toilet 3 times a day. It's good to keep in mind that we have to go every single day. Going like every 2 days is not an option. It's not an option for Ayurveda, it's not an option under any other medical system. So after we have after we have cleaned our body from the inside, it's time for us to start the ritual around our 5 senses. We can start in any particular order. There's no like a very particular order to follow. But the recommendation is that we start in our mouth, and that implies scraping our tongue. Scraping our tongue became very famous around Ayurveda, but it's also very it's popular in other traditional medical systems. The way to scrape our tongue is with, we can use a tongue scraper. They're very popular right now. They're made out of copper or stainless steel, whatever is your preference is okay. Or if you don't have a tongue scraper, you can use a plastic spoon. I recommend plastic in order to avoid a lot of contact with mixed metals, because spoons are not usually very pure in their making. So a plastic spoon is gonna do the job just fine. We scrape it from the very back, very softly. Our tongue is a very soft and sensitive tissue, so we need to take care of it in a very delicate way. So we scrape it from the back to the tip, and we just discard whatever we're gonna have that is this coating. And that, for example, is gonna be a reflection of how your digestion is going, of how the meals you had the previous day affected your entire system. If you have a very thick and white coating, is because your system is like under a lot of work, under a lot of stress, and you need then to start changing your diet, changing the time of your last meal, for example, or changing the way you are distributing your meals along the day, or the quality of the food that you are ingesting. If you have more like a thin, transparent coating, that's a very good sign that your digestion is doing okay. In traditional Chinese medicine, for example, all the colors can be interpreted. In very ill patients, we see green coatings, black coatings, purplish coatings, reddish coatings, the whole rainbow. But with these two simple references, we can do a very good job. After we scrape our tongue, we brush our teeth, also very softly, tenderly, and let's try to avoid very like irritant toothpastes. Nowadays, toothpaste almost leave our tongue like numb, because the mint is so intense that our tongue ends up being very irritated, so much that our tongue is numb, and that is not recommended. The toothpaste that is more suitable for human beings are those that have bitter, astringent, and a little bit of a sweet taste. So start looking into those other options and try to look for options that don't contain fluor, because it's a very heavy substance for ourselves. They come in powders, they come in creams, but let's start to just come up with more natural ways to clean our teeth. Back in the day, back when Ayurveda was structured as a medical system in the book, in the writing, they used to brush their teeth with the wood of a branch of a tree. For example, they took that branch, they cut the tip of the branch, and it was like a brush. And with that branch is that they used to clean their teeth. And the branch already had antibacterial properties. It had a very good taste. It prevented the accumulation of not healthy bacteria. And that's what we have to aim for. We don't have to aim at perfection. We don't have to aim at having everything extremely like accurate to how it used to be, because we have to adapt. We also have the ability to adapt and to be flexible. We can aim at the thing that is closest to the best, and that is going to be good enough. After we clean our mouth, then we can continue with our nose, for example. Just being aware that whether or not we have secretions in our nose, that's going to be enough. If we have secretions, then we just can use a tissue and clean it, or a little bit of salty water and a syringe in order for us to be more able to, with the pressure of the water, to be more thorough in the cleaning of our nose. You can use a neti pot. You can use a drop of sesame oil, for example, and you can like apply it to the nose and take a deep breath, a very forceful deep breath, and then you're gonna find yourself producing or taking out the secretions and the substances that have been accumulated in your sinuses and in your nose as well. And then you move to your eyes. Again, just by being aware of with what are we waking up in our eyes? Do we have green secretions, yellowish secretions? We don't have secretions at all. Our eyes are dry. Those are indications that are going to be useful for us to implement corrective measures. In Ayurveda, they recommend to use ghee, for example, the clarified butter that is very famous also, to just apply a little bit of it and let it like sink in. And of course, you're gonna start producing a little bit of tears, and that is gonna do like the cleaning process. They also recommend a very irritant substance that is also very common in native indigenous traditions, to clean your eyes with irritants in order to produce a very strong reaction. And that is not necessary on a daily basis, but using ghee, for example, or again, sesame oil is going to be okay. Or simply a little bit of water in order for your eyes to be clear, in order for your eyes to be without secretions, is going to be enough. Your ears also need to, we also need to pay attention to our ears. So the way to do that is with sesame oil. Sesame oil is a very flexible oil because it doesn't affect so much our functioning, our physiology. In Ayurveda, it is said that every single substance has an influence in your body. So coconut is going to have a heavier action on your body. Mustard oil is going to have a more intense and pungent and irritant action in your body. But sesame oil is going to have a very balancing and neutral action on your body. Whether you're having a disease or not, is going to leave you balanced with no alteration, with any further alterations. So that's why sesame oil is recommended for these type of routines. And try to get it cold press, and yeah, the best quality possible. So your ears, you can use the tip of your pinky to just dip the tip of your pinky on the oil, and just you don't go very deep into your ear canal. No, you just go whatever the tip of your pinky allows you, and you do this movement, like a rotation movement, in order to just smear that entrance of the ear canal. That's going to be just enough for that part of the skin of the ear canal that is a very particular type of skin. It's not like the skin we have on our external surface. It's a very particular type of tissue, and through the oil we're going to be nourishing as well as cleaning that tissue. And we have touch as the last sense, and for that we're gonna leave that particular sense for later. So we have already covered 4 of our 5 senses. in that initial moment in the bathroom, it sounds like a lot of work because it takes a lot to explain, but once you get very comfortable with it, you're gonna see that it happens in a very fast way. Also, the key in every single step is awareness. If you haven't yet noticed, awareness. Every single step of the way, you need to be aware, and getting you closer to your senses is a very good way to make you aware. I am aware that I am scraping my tongue. I am aware that I'm cleaning my eyes. I am aware of how my pinky is going into my ear. I am aware of the way my nose changed after I cleaned it. Awareness, every single step of the way. That is the biggest and foremost invitation from Ayurveda. At the end of almost every chapter, these wise men from the old days always invite us to be aware, to be extremely aware of what's going on at every moment of the day. And that's why currents and disciplines like mindfulness are going so into boom today, because it's basically going into the most fundamental principles that sustain us as human beings. So that's why I put the picture of a mouth, of the horse mouth, of our five senses, our four senses that we have located in our head, and our head is very important because of that. And after we have then cleaned our face, the senses that are more located and more like punctual in our head, then we move to touch. And the way to do that is, again, through sesame oil. We can do like a smear of our skin. It's not so much a massage. You can apply a little bit of pressure, but the idea is to just cover your entire skin with sesame oil. It should be lukewarm. It cannot be heated directly. You can use, how do you call that in English? Baño Maria. Like 2 pots. You put to boil. You put a pot, a boiling water in a pot, and then you put another recipient, with the oil. You heat that through the water, not directly through the fire, until it is comfortable. It cannot be hot because we don't want anyone to burn, but it cannot be cold because cold oil, then it is going to cause a little bit of disadjustment to your body. So you smear the oil, you start from your head, even your scalp can be smeared with a little bit of oil. It is said that one spoonful of oil should be enough for your whole body. So that's why my call to attention into that is not a massage, because in a massage you need a lot of oil. This is not a massage. This is just smearing the oil on your body in order for your body to your skin, in order for it to be able to absorb that sesame oil. So you start from your scalp, don't forget your face, don't forget your ears, you go down to your neck, your shoulders, your back, however you can reach it. If you cannot reach it, it's okay. That's also one thing you're becoming more aware of. Your arms, your torso, your pelvis, your legs, and your feet. That can take around 5 minutes at the most. You can do a longer version of it, going a little bit more like a very superficial type of rubber. You can rubber your hand to your skin in a more slower way. 1 day a week, for example, that you want to take more time to yourself and to just have like a nice one-on-one ritual with you. And if you cannot even have those 5 minutes to cover your whole body, what is recommended is you do the scalp, the ears, your hands, and your feet. With those 5 things, you're gonna be good enough. But at least once a week, it is recommended that you smear your whole body with sesame oil. because it's so little oil, so less oil, you're gonna notice that you don't end up feeling oily or sticky. No, you feel very, very good. Sesame oil has that capacity to, it's very clear. It's a very clear oil, so it doesn't leave you heavy or sticky. If you feel that maybe you have a little bit of an excess of oil, you can take it off with a towel, no problem, with a towel that you can use for that, exclusively for that. And right after you have applied the oil, you jump into working out. Yes, without taking a shower, just jumping right into it, because the heat and the sweat, which is a reflection that your pores are more open, is going to help that oil be more absorbed. It is recommended to have a moderate intensity activity, not so intense. Working out in a very intense way, as CrossFit, for example, or other very intense type of workout activities are not recommended. It's not that they're forbidden. You can practice them. The thing is that with those type of intense activities, you need to have another set of things to consider. A different type of food. You have to be more aware of taking care of your muscles and your joints, for example. So it brings a bunch of other tasks for you to do. A moderate intensity workout is going to be just enough for us as human beings. And Ayurveda recommends that you at least take your activity, your physical activity, to the moment that you are sweating on your forehead and on your back. The moment you start sweating in those two places in your body, that is like the minimum you should do. If you want to go farther into it, that's fine, but don't go to the maximum capacity. In order for you to be healthy, if you are aiming or pursuing a different objective, if you are a more competitive athlete, that's another story. But for the majority of people that work in offices or that have very slow-paced lives, doing a very intense activity is not so recommended. And working out should be a daily activity, not like today that the recommendation is very flexible. In that sense, Ayurveda is not so flexible. They are like, no, you should move every single day because your body is built to move every single day. It's only a matter of a couple centuries that we have adopted a more sedentary lifestyle before, which is far more years than we have accustomed ourselves to this lifestyle. We used to be in forests, we used to be in jungles, we used to be in the savannah in Africa, we used to be in very harsh and wild environments, and our body, our genetic, is still adapted to that type of environment. So when we force ourselves to be very still, to have our attention and to a screen for such a long time, we are sort of going against us. So in order for us to counterbalance those injuries to ourselves, we need to be very disciplined with these type of habits, because they are gonna assure that our senses are going to be working fine, that our body is going to be at least moving enough for it to be healthy, for it to be doing the exchange that is necessary for our cells and the external environment of the cell, where minerals are being exchanged, toxins are being expelled, nutrients are being absorbed. In that physiological state is that we need to be almost every moment. Okay, so after we work out, then we take a shower. And we're gonna take a shower with the temperature of the water opposite to the environment. So in summer, it is recommended that we take cold showers. And in winter, it is recommended that we take warm showers, not extreme temperatures. We should never go to the extremes. Ayurveda, as any other traditional system and as any other traditional set of beliefs, always aim at the middle point, at finding your balance. So in winter, it's not that we have a shower with almost burning ourselves, and in summer, it's not like we're going into a bathtub full of ice. No, it's like cold enough and warm enough to feel comfortable. Ayurveda doesn't advise the use of soap. Back in those days, which is like 5,000 years ago, they didn't know, or they didn't have the need to produce soap. They use powders. And you're gonna notice that because of the oil, it's much easier for you to feel clean. It's much easier for you to feel like you are indeed shedding the dead cells, shedding like the substances you produce and are like deposited in your skin while you shower. You feel clean after just using water. If you are still reluctant to give up on soap, then use the best quality soap that is possible. Soaps that are made with herbs, soap that are made with natural substances, not with the chemicals that we are offered today. And very soft on the smells. Remember that smells are reflection of chemicals. If something is has a very powerful smell, it's because it has a very powerful chemical substance, and that's going to be irritant for our skin, for our senses, and for our overall system. You can try to use sandalwood powder. That is like the most recommended powder for us to take a shower with. It's very expensive, so that's why I don't recommend it on a regular basis. But if you can get a hold to it and use it like once a month, like that, a special day that you want to feel like you have pampered yourself, that's completely fine. What I use is a very artisan type of soap. It's made with, sometimes I buy it with calendula, sometimes with even coffee sometimes, or oatmeal, or orange, or made with essential oils, for example. And I only use it in in my joints, because that's where I feel like, because the skin there has some folds, so it's more easy for things to accumulate. So in my armpits, my joints, my pelvis a little bit, and only there is that I use soap. For the rest of my body, I am comfortable and I see a very good result with the oil. Particularly, I have a tendency to dry skin, so I cannot use a lot of soap, because otherwise my skin goes very dry. All right, so after we have showered ourselves, we then are more ready to have lunch or to have a meal. The recommended hour, or the recommended time for us to have the biggest and more full nutrient meal is in the midday at noon, because the sun is at its peak, and we are a reflection of the universe. So if the sun is at its peak, our digestive fire, which is also like, it's like in the same way we understand the sun, we understand our capacity to digest and to absorb and assimilate nutrients. So our fire is going to be at its peak as well as the sun at around 12, for example. So at that time, we should have a very nutritious meal, full of vegetables, very colorful, meat or not, that's your choice according to what you have read and according to your beliefs. But the point is that we have to aim at procuring the most natural and the most nutrient dense food that we have available. Ayurveda recommends eating only 2 times a day, and that's why they don't mention breakfast, for example. They mention lunch. Like for them, we start our day with lunch because these whole activities take a bunch of time. And we are usually not hungry in the morning. When we are very hungry in the morning is because we are doing something wrong in the night, or because the day before we didn't have a very good quality of food. You're gonna have a lot of adjustments around this because it's not easy. If we have a habit of having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, breaking that habit is gonna be extremely expensive in terms of energy, in terms of like will, and that's okay. Take your time, go at your own pace, and adjust to whatever suits you better. Remember that the last meal of the day should be extremely early, around 6 or 7 at the latest, in order for you to be able to have 2 hours before you go to sleep. And then after you have taken your meal, you can just work and go on the activities of the day. And these activities of the morning are gonna color the rest of your day. And that's why they're so important. Yeah, Everett is telling me that we have to wrap it up. Yep, that's it. So this is the message. Be aware of every single step of your day, and start to make little changes in order for you to be more able to do bigger changes.
Thank you so much, Laura. I'm gonna open up the panel for questions, so we can all answer those questions. Feel free to drop it off here. Let me see. Laura, can you hear me? Yes.
Yep,
okay.
I can hear you.
Great. So we have one question here. Yes, these slides will be available for the next session. We're thinking about posting this on our social media platforms, so you can have the chance to review all the material. Yes, it will be available in our social media platforms. It can be Facebook, LinkedIn. Yes, so you will get a copy of the presentation if you want to walk over what Dr. Laura said before. Yes. Yes. So I just want to, try to encourage people those questions. That's fine. We can do that through email. If you're a member of Alpha, you can register in alpha.org/Boston. If you're not registered, I'll invite you to do so you can have all this material. We also do promotions and newsletters. We're gonna do a follow-up of this webinar, so you will have access to this material.
I'm gonna leave our email in the chat box for everyone to be able, yes. In case questions pop up later, then you can reach us there.
So we have one question here from one of the attendees. It's saying, thank you so much, Dr. Laura. How long have you been practicing this lifestyle?
For around 7 years, since I came back from India. Yeah. More discipline, less discipline. I am very flexible with that. If I am very hard on myself, then it doesn't work. And then I'm gonna be just blaming myself every single day because I didn't do the things I should have done. So I work on a very daily way. If that day I can handle to do every single of the things that I feel comfortable with doing according to Ayurveda, that's fine. If I cannot do it because of one or other reason, then I'm okay with it, and I will try better the next day and the next week and the next month.
Great. We have another question here. Dr. Laura, can you recommend any further reading on this type of medicine?
Yes, of course. I am gonna put it on the chat box again because this is a very, it's a different, like, it's a name that maybe you're not able to recollect later
Yeah,
on.
it's hard.
Dr. Bazan Blatt is an American doctor that has explored Ayurveda deeply.
Yep.
Dr. Bazan Blatt, and there is a Ayurveda Council in the United States also, and they have a bunch of material in their website, and they have also a Facebook page, and they're very reachable.
I just have a quick follow-up question, Dr. Laura. Like for someone who's new to this new lifestyle and this theory, what do you recommend those small steps that people should take in order to fulfill that potential stage of being conscious of the whole practice?
I think the hallmark is the waking moment. If you manage to get up from bed in a more serene, in a more purposeful and aware way, that's going to be a perfect start. Just for you to be able to understand what are your needs, what are the pains of the day, what are the small victories of the day, that's enough. If you are able to wake up early and understand your body, your mind, and your emotions at that moment of the day, you're doing enough.
Thank you. Okay, I'm just gonna wrap it up here. Keep in touch. Kuma have their social media platform. You can follow them in Instagram, Facebook as facebook.com/Kuma MAGG8, or also on Facebook. We're gonna do a follow-up after this. Also, remember Alpha Familia members, we're all here for you. Anything you need relation to career development and personal um, um, uh, tools like this one, like how do you can prepare yourself in this environment, how you can have your mental health on point. Feel free to reach out to us. We're always open for our social media channels, email, phone number. Here in Boston, we're here to support. Just to name some of the sponsors of today's webinar: State Street, Easter Bank, Mass Mutual, Justice Resource Institute, KPMG, MFS, Fidelity, Bank of America, Great Boston Chamber of Commerce, some other bronze sponsor, Harvard University, Eaton Baines, private CIBC, strategic. Thank you everyone for being today with us. I hope you enjoy and take away some of the key things that Dr. Laura said. Thank you so much, Dr. Laura.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day.
You too. Take care. Bye.